All right, welcome to Big Time Basketball, the basketball segment of the Fantasy Fanatics Podcast. I'll be your host once again, James, and I'm joined once again by Nate, Mete, and Terry. What's up, guys?
What's up?
So
In today's episode, we're just going to get into a recap of some of the scores in the NBA from this weekend, just taking a look at what happened around the league in the playoff series. And then we'll just look at each series and we'll look where each team's at. The standing of each series, and then we'll move over to just the preview for the next couple days worth of games. So let's just hop right into it. We'll start with the scores from Saturday, May the 29th. One team actually completed their series sweep 4-0, the Milwaukee Bucks, topping the Miami Heat 120-103. Just taking a look at some of the scores here. Brook Lopez actually led the Bucks with 25 points. Bam Adebayo added 20 to lead the Heat. Giannis led the Bucks with rebounds with 12, and Bam had 14 for Miami. And Giannis led the team also in assists with 15, with Jimmy Butler coming through with 10. And Terry, let me start with you on this. I guess, what did the Bucks do well just to win this series?
Just limiting the Heat's opportunities. I mean, a couple of these guys off the bench, whether it be Tyler Hero or even Kendrick Nunn, I believe they went 5 for 13 and 7 for 15 respectively. So having said that, when you limit the role players in their opportunities, you're just putting the other team into greater deficit, and then that's what the Bucks did great. Guys like on the Bucks, probably like Brent Forbes and I believe Bobby Portis, they made their opportunities, even though they shot a little bit significantly not so great. But having said that, I mean, the starters for the Bucks just basically covered the weakness on the bench, and they just played tremendous defense, just to summarize it.
Yeah, for sure. I think defense was a big part of it. But Mete, I'll get to you on Miami here. I know their shooting was down a lot from last year's series against the Bucks. I don't know. Did this team just get worse, or why did they lose this series?
I think the main reason they lost the series was because of Jimmy Butler. He was doing other things than scoring, but the whole series, his efficiency was just terrible. And I want to say that this series has been a great disappointment. It had a great game one that went to overtime and a buzzer beater winner, and the next three were just blowouts for Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think it was pretty tough from the get-go for Miami. And then Nate, just finishing with you. Do the Bucks have any chance if they end up facing Brooklyn in round 2?
I mean, possibly. It's gonna be tough to say because they're both are really good teams. I mean, the Nets, they're still looking like the favorites right now. If the big three over there is hot, then it's gonna be hard to kind of keep pace with them.
Yeah, for sure. And just moving on to the next game, we got the Portland Trailblazers beating the Denver Nuggets 115-95. Portland ties up the series there. This time, Mete, I'll start with you since you backed Portland quite a bit in our predictions. How do you see this team in this series? Why are they playing so well?
Actually, they're doing okay, but I was getting a little worried before this game. I think they got blown out the last two games, and then playoff Powell went off this game with 29. He carried the Trailblazers. I think they're doing well because, like I said before, this is the deepest team they've had in years. So they got guys like Powell, Melo, Nurkic, Covington who can chip in if McCollum and Lillard are off like this game. Lillard only had 10 points, 1 of 10, and Powell carried the scoring load.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking at the scoring here, Norman Powell did lead the Trailblazers with 29, Nikola Jokic adding 16 for the Nuggets, and then Jokic leading the Nuggets in rebounds with 9, and Robert Covington had 9 for Portland, and then Campazzo had 7 assists. for Denver, with Damian Lillard adding 10 for Portland. And Nate, just getting to you on Denver, I know you really back this team. Do you think that they'll just be able to limit Portland's chances in the next game? And I guess, do you believe uh, they'll be able to just drain the steam out of the Blazers?
That's what I thought going into the beginning of the series. I'm not as sure now. Um, I think it kind of depends on kind of the shooting of Denver. I think Aaron Gordon and Michael Porter Jr., they didn't have the best nights shooting. So if they do want to kind of drain the steam of the Blazers, they're gonna have to increase their field goal percentage.
Yeah, and I think just attempting more shots for those two, and then Jokic having the most attempts, and his percentage was a little low as well for a big. And then Terry, just getting to you, I guess in terms of analysis, which way is this series sort of tipping as you see it?
Well, the Blazers just took the last game, and we all know when it comes to Game 4, it's the most critical one. It could even the series, it could finish the series, it could put it in uneven balance. Having said that, it's going to be a series of 3, and it's basically whoever can limit their how should I put this? What's the word I'm looking for here? Help me out here. Uh, Weaknesses, missed opportunities, that type of stuff. Uh, for example, Jokic went 7 for 18. I mean, if he wants the Nuggets to win, he has to help out his field goal percentage. Same way guys like Aaron Gordon, especially guys like Michael Porter Jr. If you go 1 for 3 on a night and you're probably the second option on the team, your team's going to lose. And unfortunately, this is what happened with Denver.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I might lean Portland going into game 5 just because of that shooting, like you mentioned. It's just been very inconsistent for Denver. The games where the shooting is falling, they seem to be able to pull out the win. So I think Denver is a better overall squad if both teams are shooting just as efficiently. They just need to pretty much be more consistent when it comes to shooting. And just getting to the next game, Philly took a 3-0 series lead with a 132-103 win over the Wizards. Just looking at some of the top end scores, Joel Embiid, 36 points to lead the 76ers, Russell Westbrook, 26 for the Wizards, and then Tobias Harris, 13 rebounds for the Sixers, Westbrook for the Wizards, adding 12, and then Ben Simmons with 9 assists for Philly, and then Russell Westbrook completing the triple-double with 10 assists for Washington. So, Mete, I'll start with you this time. Just looking here at Philly, they've been playing so well. They've been so efficient. Their starters have just been scoring, and they've even been getting a little bit from their bench. So, I guess, how do you see Philly just closing out the series? More of the same?
Yeah, I believe they can just dominate this series. Like, I love what they did this year. They have the worst floor spacing guard in Ben Simmons, and they just surrounded him with a bunch of spot up 3-point shooters, and it's working to great success so far.
Yeah, for sure. And Nate, just getting to you, um, just looking at Washington, I guess what can this team pretty much do better to sort of, have a chance of taking game 4?
It's gonna be hard to say because of how good Philly is. I guess it'd be kind of trying to limit the chances of Embiid, trying to limit, the passing of Ben Simmons probably.
Yeah, and Terry, just getting to you, Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, they combined for over 50 points. If Washington wants any chance in this series, are they going to need to score more than that?
You're going to need to score way more than that. I mean, if you're getting that from your key guards in the backcourt and your bench is probably giving you, I don't know, give or take maybe less than 30 points, and then the rest of your starters aren't even averaging more than half of what Beal and Westbrook are averaging, I feel like this is a recipe for disaster. But as I said a few episodes ago, I feel like Washington can get a game out of this series.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely take a look at the Monday game currently in progress as we move along. So we'll definitely see if Washington will get the job done there. And let's just move to the last game from Saturday. The Utah Jazz beating the Memphis Grizzlies 121-111 to take a 2-1 series lead in that series. Yeah, Utah looks so much more efficient with Donovan Mitchell in the lineup. He led them in points with 29, Ja Morant adding 28 for the Grizzlies, Rudy Gobert leading in rebounds with 14 for Utah, Kyle Anderson had 13 for Memphis, Mike Conley 8 assists for the Utah Jazz, and Ja Morant had 7 for the Memphis Grizzlies. Nate, let me start with you. I guess just looking at the Utah Jazz, this team, they've just been playing so efficiently with Donovan Mitchell back. They've been getting bench points. They've been getting consistent scoring from all of their starters. Do you think that they can just sweep the rest of the games?
There's a chance. I mean, with Donovan Mitchell in, their team's just way too deep. It's going to be really hard to keep up with them.
Yeah, for sure. And Mete, I'll just get to you on the Grizzlies. It seems like Valanciunas was a little more quiet than he usually is in most games. He only had 10 points here. And I mean, Jaren Jackson's really not played that well in this series. I guess they're going to need more points from their bigs if they want to even have a chance in this series.
Yeah, you're right. But it's gonna be tough for those two because they're gonna be going up against Gobert most of the time. So, and Gobert is one of the best lockdown defenders for a big. He clogs up the paint really well. So, like I said, it's gonna be tough for the Memphis bigs to get going.
And then Terry, just finishing off with you once again. I know I talked to Nate about Utah finishing up this series, but um, do you see Memphis even getting a game here? Do you see them even putting up a fight, or are we just going to see more blowouts from here on out?
I feel like we're not going to see blowouts, but then, as you said, they will keep these games tight. You're just hoping for better nights from guys like JV, and then you're hoping for guys like Kyle Anderson and Triple J to just limit their missed opportunities, and hopefully, uh, if they can't get an open shot, just pass out, and then hopefully a guy like, I don't know, maybe Tyrus Jones or Grayson Allen or Desmond Baines can like just get an easy opportunity. Having said that, I mean, I still feel like the series will go to 6, maybe 7 games, but that's just my opinion.
All right, and that's it for the Saturday games. We'll move into Sunday, and there was a big game Sunday afternoon. It was the New York Knicks at the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks really putting down their foot on the pedal, winning 113-96. They're really establishing themselves in this series. I believe they now have a 3-1 series lead. Mete, I'll definitely start with you. You were pretty much the only person backing Atlanta in this series. And I guess you really saw something in this team. What'd you see in this team that they're clearly displaying here?
Like I said before, Atlanta is very deep. They've got great shooters, great big man in Capella and Collins. I just like their roster better than the Knicks, and the fact that they fired Lloyd Pierce midway during the season and Nate McMillan took over, they've been a way better team.
Yeah, for sure. Just looking at the stats, Trae Young, 27 points to lead the Hawks. Julius Randle with 23 for the Knicks. Randle also adding 10 rebounds to lead the Knicks, with Clint Capella getting 15 for the Hawks. Julius Randle also leading this team in assists with 7, and then Trae Young adding 9 for the Hawks. And Terry, just getting to you on the New York Knicks. I think their lack of overall scoring is just really showing up in this series. Normally they can hold teams to around their level of scoring, but they're just having a really hard time against this Trae Young led Atlanta squad.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Having said that, when you're relying on guys like Alec Burks and probably Reggie Bullocks to be your third or fourth option, I don't know how to put this gently, but I mean, if you're expecting them to be your options, I mean, you're probably going to have a bad night. In result, I think Alex Burke went 4 for 12, and maybe Bullocks probably went 0 for 4 in this game. And having said that, I mean, if you're having guys like Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, and possibly Derrick Rose being your guys that are carrying the heavy load, you're hoping for the supporting cast to do a better job. And unfortunately, this night it wasn't uh, the Knicks supporting cast that helped them out.
Yeah, it really looks like that. And Nate, just finishing up with you here. Just looking at the Knicks, they're down 3-1 in this series. They need to win out if they want to move on to the next round. Can they do it? And if they can, what are they going to have to do to get it done?
It's gonna be really tough at this point, but I guess biggest thing would just be taking advantage of the open looks that you get, just like what Terry said for the supporting cast. When they're open and they can take a shot, they have to make sure that the shot goes in. That's probably the biggest thing. Maybe the next biggest thing would be trying to find a way to kind of limit Trae Young's effectiveness somehow. That's again a really tall order, but if they can do that, they have a chance.
Yeah, and I guess just the points allowed is really coming back to hurt them. I know in the season they were only allowing around 104 points per game, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, they're definitely allowing a lot more against Atlanta in this series. So I think the defense just really needs to clamp down, and like you said, limit Trae Young as much as they can. And just moving into the next game from Sunday, we have the Phoenix Suns beating the LA Lakers 100-92. I believe Anthony Davis left this game with an injury. Yeah, he only played 19 minutes in this game, so big blow for the Lakers. Just looking at the stats here, LeBron James led the Lakers with 25 points, Chris Paul adding 18 to lead the Suns. LeBron also had 12 rebounds to lead the Lakers and 6 assists to lead the Lakers, while Chris Paul added 9 assists to lead the Suns, and DeAndre Ayton put up 17 rebounds to lead Phoenix. And um, Nate, let me start here with you on Phoenix. Um, I know they did capitalize on the Lakers losing Anthony Davis, but they still played really well. It looks like a great supporting cast scoring that they got. Um, I guess if whether Davis plays or he doesn't next game, can Phoenix sort of take control of the series?
I mean, I guess now is kind of the opportunity for that. Normally when your players go down, it can either, I guess, light a fire under the opposing team or it can kind of shake them up a bit. So assuming they're shaken up a bit, just kind of go in with confidence. You know that you can, I guess, beat the Lakers. You've beaten them before. So yeah, just try to go in with some confidence.
Yeah, and Terry, just getting to you, it really looked like that Chris Paul's really just went into that next gear. I mean, this guy's playing half injured, and yet he's leading his team in most statistical categories. Um, I mean, if Anthony Davis isn't there, can Chris Paul really put this team through? And do you think that maybe others like Devin Booker and company need to step up and sort of help him out?
I agree with you on that statement right there. Today I just feel like the Suns got a little bit lucky with their field goal opportunities. I mean, Mikal Bridges went 4 for 12. I believe Devin Booker 5 for 14, and then Cameron Payne off the bench 5 for 12. Yeah, these field goal percentages may look average to some people, and they may be looking horrible for some people. But if you're willing to take out this LA Laker team, you have to be more efficient with your field goal shooting. I've preached it probably with the first 2 series, maybe 3 series that we talked about earlier, and I'll preach it again for probably the rest of the night. Convert your field goals, and you'll limit your opportunities for misses, and you'll do a great job. With AD out, I feel like they may have a better opportunity of taking the series now to possibly 7 games, but we don't know the status of AD as of yet.
Yeah, and Mete, just getting to you on the Lakers here. If Anthony Davis cannot come back and play, because I know if he is back playing and he's healthy, we can expect this Lakers team to sort of dominate. But if he doesn't come back, can LeBron James really take control in this series and propel the Lakers to a win?
LeBron can definitely propel the Lakers to a win, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna come down to him if Davis is out. He's gonna need a secondary scorer to help him out every night, and right now the Lakers just don't have that. Someone who's consistently scoring for them outside of AD and LeBron.
Yeah, I've noticed from game to game, the Lakers sort of rotation has changed minute wise. Like Montrezl Harrell only had 4 minutes in this game. I mean, guys like Markieff Morris weren't getting into the game. He got into the game this time. They gave Kyle Kuzma more minutes. So we saw a lot more of Marcus All. Wesley Matthews got 25 minutes, that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's like it's pretty strange to see they're just sort of mixing it up, and it's just really not working out. So I guess we'll definitely have to keep an eye for next game. But just moving to the other game from Sunday. Actually, there are a couple more, but the next one, Brooklyn beating Boston 141 to 126. I believe the series is now 3-1. Boston had won the first game at home, but it really seems like Brooklyn came to play for game 4. And Terry, I'll start with you on Brooklyn. KD 42 points to lead the Nets. Kyrie at 39. James Harden at 23. Is this team really unstoppable?
Should I even answer that? I mean, I said this when we started predicting these series. 3 of the top 15 players in the league. Then you got that sniper on the 3 spot. And the name is Joe Harris. I mean, and then you're going against this injured riddled Celtics team. Yes, they're missing Jaylen Brown, but I feel like Jaylen Brown is a key part of this rotation. I mean, when you look at the Celtics that night, they were playing almost everyone from 6 to 13 in the rotation just to throw whatever they can at this unstoppable Nets team. Having said that, I mean, I feel like they will win the next game, which will clinch the series, and they'll move on to the next round.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Kyrie led them in rebounds with 11. James Harden led them in assists with 18. And Mete, I just want to get to you because the previous game, Jason Tatum dropped 50. Now he dropped 40. I feel bad for this guy. He's really putting in his best effort, but they just don't have enough offense to really combat this Brooklyn team. I mean, can Boston even survive for one more game?
I don't think they'll get another game. Like you said, Tatum's put up 90 points in the last 2 games, and I think they won the game by like 10 points or something. And this game they lost by 15. So it doesn't matter how much he's putting up. He's going against 3 All-Stars on the other team, and it's just hard for them to keep up with them at this point.
Yeah, Nate, just getting to you. I know I asked you about the Bucks' chances if they have to face Brooklyn. I don't know. Just by looking at some of these stats, does it convince you otherwise?
I don't know. It's still looking pretty tough. I mean, anybody on this roster can kind of go off for at least 20 points just looking at the roster. Like they even have Blake Griffin. I know he didn't score too much, but it's not because he can't score. It's because the possessions are going to other players. So even if somebody goes down, they still have someone who can pick up the slack.
Yeah, I mean, just judging by the leaders on the Celtics, I mean, we mentioned Jason Tatum at 40 points. He also led them in rebounds with 7. Then Marcus Smart had 9 assists. But yeah, the Celtics are really missing Jaylen Brown. They just really don't look like the same team. I mean, guys like Jabari Parker, I mean, they tried to, pick up the slack, but I mean, they can only do so much. And then, yeah, just outside of that, there really just wasn't much going for this Celtics team. So just moving on to the last game from Sunday, we have the LA Clippers beating the Dallas Mavericks 106 to 81. They tie up the series at 2. And Nate, I'm going to start here with you on the Clippers. This team, they went down 2-0. They've now battled back to tie up the series. I guess, do they have momentum just moving forward?
I mean, it's hard to say if they have momentum because I feel like Dallas, they can always kind of bring the game back at any point, kind of depending on how well they're able to kind of contain Luka. I know in the first couple of games, they were having a really rough time trying to contain him, but I mean, it looks like they're doing a better job, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, Kawhi Leonard led this team with his double-double, 29 points and 10 rebounds, both leading for the Clippers. Then Luka had 19 points and 6 assists. Both of those were leading the Mavericks. Then you had Dorian Finney-Smith to lead the Mavericks in rebounds and Rajon Rondo to lead the Clippers with 4 assists. And Terry, just getting to you on Dallas, they started off 2-0. I know Luka has been playing hurt. Um, I mean, if he's back healthy, do you still see the Clippers winning, or do you think Dallas actually has a chance?
I feel like the scoring outside of Luka Doncic on Dallas Mavericks isn't enough. You got to hope for guys like Finney Smith, Hardaway Jr., Max Kleber. Like you got to hope for those guys to just make the shots. Just that same day, Finney Smith 3 for 9, Kleber 0 for 3, Hardaway 1 for 8, and Porzingis probably the only bright spot outside of those four guys, 7 for 12. Luka is playing with a spine injury, so having said that, it does affect the mobility. And I mean, you hope that they can make it more interesting, but anytime the Clippers run like all their wings on the court at the same time, I feel like they just are unstoppable, and you can't find a game plan for that type of lineup. And unfortunately, guys like Kleber, Finney, and Porzingis, they're struggling to guard that rotation. Not rotation. They're 5 right now.
Yeah, for sure. And Mete, just getting to you, Dallas only had 3 double-digit scores in this game: Luka, Boban, and Porzingis. So, I don't know. Is that a sign that Boban needs more minutes, or I don't know, where are they going to get more scoring to just stay in this series?
I always think Boban deserves more minutes. Like he's free walking double double if he's getting given like 20 minutes, in my opinion. It just depends on his stamina and if the coach trusts him on the defensive end. But we were talking about this earlier, a couple episodes ago, I think, when they first went out 1-0. I was saying how Finney Smith and Hardaway Jr. shot the lights out. And I was saying it's going to be hard for them to replicate that. And you see that not every game they're going to be knocking down their threes. And another thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that the Clippers went small this game. They started Batum at the 5, and when they're going small like this, Porzingis needs to be grabbing more rebounds than 5 for a big man. 7-3 of his side.
Yeah, he clearly just didn't give them enough. Um, yeah, I think going Batum seems to be working against Dallas, so I think the Clippers might keep going with that. So Dallas definitely needs to adjust and sort of they might need to go with more Boban because, like you mentioned, he can get a double-double as well. Guys like Porzingis, Kleber, and others really need to step up. And then just looking at the Monday games, I believe some of them are still in progress. Um, yeah, actually, no, there is one that is finished. The Washington Wizards did win game 4. They won it 122-114. So let's just take a look at that game, actually. The leaders for that game: Bradley Beal, 27 points. Tobias Harris led the Sixers with 21 points. Harris also had 13 rebounds to lead the Sixers. Russell Westbrook had 21 for the Wizards. Tobias Harris also led in assists with 5, and Westbrook had 14 to lead Washington. And Terry, I'll start with you this time. We were just talking about what Washington needed to do. I know Embiid did go down in this game, but just looking at Westbrook, I mean, this guy had 19, 21, and 14. He clearly put this team on his back. I guess he's probably going to need to do that every game if they're going to even have a chance.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, there's not that much more to say. You got to hope for guys like Westbrook and Beal to literally put on superhuman performances night in, night out just to survive maybe even 4 games and 5 games. I already said they would squeak out a win, and for this superhuman performance, I feel like Westbrook and Beal are going to be tired after. and you're going to have to rely on guys like Hachimura, Gafford, Bertans, and Lopez for your scoring output afterwards. Yes, Joel Embiid is injured, but then I feel like the rotation after Embiid at the center spot is perfectly fine with guys like Dwight Howard, Scott, and I believe Tolliver, even though they don't have enough playing time. But that's what you expect in playoffs when the lights are shining bright. The rotations always get shortened and less guys are getting playing time.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. And Nate, I want to get to you because you talked about Washington limiting Joel Embiid being their only chance of success. And I mean, he goes down in this game. So I guess without Joel Embiid, is Philly going to lose the next three straight if he doesn't play? Or can this team still squeak out one more win with him out of the lineup, possibly?
I think Philly is deep enough that they can still compete with the Wizards. Ben Simmons, he's still a really good inside scorer. I think the problem was just that they had to kind of figure out who was going to be inside more. So Joel Embiid was inside more, but we might see Ben Simmons kind of take the ball to the basket more. Dwight Howard, he didn't have the best game, but normally he's like a double-double kind of guy. So there's still a chance for Philly. It's not over yet. This is definitely the chance for the Wizards, but can't really underestimate Philly still.
And then Mete, just finishing up with you. I guess what does Philly need to change up if Joel Embiid isn't playing? Like, do they need to play more small ball? Do they need to sort of go through Tobias Harris? It seems like they were doing that a lot in this game. He put up pretty much all the stats for this team. I guess what are they going to have to do if they want to beat Washington without Embiid?
I don't think they need to go to small ball. Embiid did get hurt during the regular season, and they ran Dwight Howard, I think, in his spot, and they were doing just fine. Actually, Howard was going off for a couple weeks while Embiid was down. I think what they need to do, it looks like they had a rough night shooting the three. They just got to make their shots, 3-point shots when they're open.
Yeah, it really looks like they had a tough time. I know Seth Curry's their best 3-point shooter. He went 0 for 4 in this game. Tobias Harris went 1 for 5. Definitely not something you want from your best 3-point shooters. Even Danny Green only made 30 something percent of his threes. So definitely you want to tick that up a little bit if you want to get a win there. And then one game still in progress that we won't cover. The Utah Jazz are leading the Memphis Grizzlies in the second quarter as we speak. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. All right, let's just take a look at the bracket here for the NBA playoffs. We'll actually start out in the West. Like we mentioned, this game is still going on. Utah is currently up 2-1 in the series. Terry, let me start with you. I guess who did you have winning this series, and are you liking your prediction so far?
I took Utah, I believe, in 6. Can't remember that podcast anymore, but I still like it just due to the fact that Donovan Mitchell is back and the scoring reliance on guys like Mike Conley and Jordan Clarkson aren't going to be as high as compared to now, just for the fact that Donovan Mitchell is one of the better shooting guards in this NBA right now, and I feel like the pressure on those other guys are going to be a little bit more less than it was from game 1.
Yeah, for sure. And then Mete, how about you? How are you feeling about this series for your prediction?
I believe I took Utah in 5 or 6 as well, and that was without knowing if Mitchell was going to play. So now that he's back, I'm confident in that pick.
And then Nate, just getting to you. I believe you were on Utah as well. How are you feeling about this series?
Yeah, just like what everyone else said, with Donovan Mitchell back in, I feel like it should be at least game 6. The Grizzlies, they probably have another win in them, but I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, I also took Utah, and I said that once Donovan Mitchell came back, they would sweep their remaining games. So I believe they should take the next 2 games in the series and they should win it in 5. I said 4 or 5, depending on when Mitchell comes back. So it's definitely looking like that's going to happen. Just moving to the 4-5 series in the West, we got the we got the Clippers and the Mavericks all tied up at 2. I'll start with you this time, Mete. Um, I guess what was your prediction coming in, and I guess what do you think about the series now?
I had Clippers in 5, I believe, and so that's not gonna happen. What I feel like is gonna happen now is I think this could go to 7. It's been the away team winning both games on the road. Like the Mavericks won first 2 on the road, and now Clippers won the next 2 on the road. So I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I think it goes 7.
And then Nate, just getting to you, how do you feel about this series and how you predicted it?
I think the Clippers, they're doing really well, but it it kind of depends on, again, like how well they can contain Luka. It'll probably go to 7, but I guess I'll go with Dallas.
And then getting to you, Terry, how do you feel about this series?
Luka still has that spine injury affecting him. I feel like Clippers take the next game. If he's healthy for game 6, like fully 100% healthy, I say Dallas may take it. But if he's still lingering with that injury, I feel like Clippers might win the next 2. So Clippers in 6.
Yeah, I believe my prediction was Clippers in 6 or 7. I can't remember which I took, but I know I definitely took the Clippers. I believe they can take it in 6. Luca looks very limited right now. This team, their shooting sort of dried up, I guess, as some people were predicting. Because I mean, they were one of the hottest shooting teams at the beginning of the playoffs, and then I guess it was really hard to keep up that pace. So definitely the Clippers are the deeper team. They definitely deserve to move out of this series as long as they play well. So yeah, I think Clippers should be able to close it out in 6, depending on Luka's health. And just moving to the 3-6 series there in the West. This time I'll start with you, Nate. I believe you had Denver in the series. It is tied 2-2. Are you still with Denver?
I think game 5 is probably going to decide it. I think if Portland wins game 5, they'll probably win in 6 or 7 games. But if Denver wins game 5, I guess I'd probably say Denver in 7, maybe.
All right. I believe you also had Denver, Terry. Do you still like them winning this series?
I'll still take Denver. I'll still hold to my picks. Um, as for it being in 6 games, no, I feel like it's going to be in 7 now. Just because the Blazers are just not going down without a fight, and it is Damian Lillard, right?
And definitely a big advocate for the Blazers, Mete. I guess you probably are still picking them to win this series.
Yeah, I have I think I picked Blazers in 7, and I'm gonna stick with that. But if Will Barton comes back, that's gonna be big for the Nuggets.
Yeah, for sure. I believe I also had Portland in 7. Still liking the pick. This Portland team can definitely generate offense. They definitely got to be the hotter shooting team if they want to win. Because once Denver gets hot, their team is just a lot bigger, and they can definitely take over the game. So Portland just has to continue to just shoot at the rate that they've been doing, and they can definitely win this series. And then getting to the 2-7 here, the Phoenix Suns against the LA Lakers. Series is tied 2-2. I believe the majority of us were on the Lakers, if not all of us. Nate, I can't remember what your prediction was, but could you let us know what it was and if you still like it for the series?
To be honest, I kind of forgot. It might have been Phoenix, but I guess this is another one that's kind of going to depend on the health of AD, the health of Chris Paul. It looks like Chris Paul, even though he's not 100%, he's playing like he's close to 100%. So I guess he'd be fine. So I guess maybe Phoenix in 7.
All right, Terry, just getting to you. I believe you had the Lakers winning this series. Do you still like the Lakers winning this series?
Yes, and yes, and yes. Uh, if AD's out, it's going to go to 7 games. If he's going to be coming back hobbling or healthy, I feel like the Lakers may take the next two.
All right, and then getting to you, Mete, I believe you also had the Lakers. Do you still like them to win this series?
It's tough right now because I'm pretty sure Anthony Davis is out for Game 5, and then if the Suns win that, they just need one more. So I have a big concern if the Lakers can move on right now.
Yeah, I'm just sort of analyzing this series. I believe I had Lakers in 5 or 6. Um, I'm kind of liking Phoenix a little bit better now. So I really don't like my original prediction in this series. Just looking at the way things are, Phoenix is at home for Game 5. I do believe they take Game 5, but I believe LeBron should be able to steal one in Game 6. The series should be able to go to 7. And I do like Phoenix at home if Anthony Davis doesn't play. If Anthony Davis does play, I might lean towards the Lakers. But as for his status right now, I'm definitely leaning Suns in 7. And then moving over to the East, it's now 3-1 Philly in that series as the game was just final on Monday. I guess, Terry, I'll start with you. I guess what was your prediction for this series? And I guess Philly is going to close it out the next game if Embiid plays.
Philly in 5. Next question. That's it.
Oh wow, yeah, and as long as Embiid plays, I think I can agree with you. Yeah, and I guess if Embiid doesn't play, Terry, does that concern you at all?
Maybe just because your strategy of having shooters around Embiid kind of negates just due to the fact that Dwight Howard isn't known for, shooting the basketball. And I believe Scott was a decent mid-range shooter maybe a couple years back, but I haven't seen him play a lot this year. So that's a little question mark that I have in my mind. Aside from that, that backcourt of the Wizards, they just have to carry from now on.
Yeah, for sure. And Nate, I also believe you had Philly in this series. I guess, do you like your prediction going forward?
Yeah, I still feel like Philly definitely still has a really high chance of winning. It's basically going to come down to how well Westbrook and Bradley Beal play, but it's going to be really hard for them to come back.
Yeah, and then just getting to you, Mete, I believe you also had Philly in this series. I believe you had the Wizards winning some games, though. I guess, what do you think about your series prediction? And I guess, do you think Philly closes it out in Game 5?
I actually believe I picked the sweep here. I can't remember though. Yeah, I think Philly should win next game, even if Embiid's not there. Like they're way too deep. They just got to make their threes.
Yeah, for sure. I know I had, I think it was Philly in 4 if they're healthy, or else Philly in 5. It is possible they close it out. I'm sort of leaning to Philly in 6 now if Embiid doesn't play. Definitely this Philly squad is deep, like you guys said, but I do believe that Westbrook and Beal might have one game left in them if the Sixers are shorthanded. So I guess we'll just need to keep an eye on the injury status of Joel Embiid heading in. And then moving to the 4-5 series in the East, we have Atlanta up 3-1. Mete, I'll start with you here. I believe you had Atlanta in 7. Does it get to 7, or do you think Atlanta closes it out earlier?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going 7 anymore. I was saying this is going to be the closest matchup in the first round, and that's been a disappointment so far after the great game 1 they had. So I think Atlanta can win now in 6 since it's going back to MSG.
And then Nate, just getting to you on this series. I know you had the New York Knicks, as did most of us. Do you like them coming back and winning in 7, or do you think Atlanta takes this at some point in the next couple games?
It's gonna be really tough. They're basically fighting for their playoff lives at this point, so they're gonna have to give it everything they've got. So I think they can at least win one more, but I think Atlanta has the advantage right now, so I guess it could be Atlanta in 6.
And then getting to you, Terry, how do you feel about your Knicks prediction in this series? And I guess what's sort of your, whether you have a new prediction or not, what's sort of your prediction heading in?
Go down with the ship with all my picks. I mean, I'll still take Knicks in 7. even though it may look like a horrible pick now. Honestly, I think I overvalued the Knicks defense, and having said that, I didn't look around to their scoring opportunities outside of Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, and Derrick Rose. And having said that, I mean, that might be the downfall to my prediction. Having said that, the Hawks are the better team on paper, and I feel like if they do make it out of this matchup, uh, good for them.
Yeah, I know I also said Knicks in 7, and I mean, this team's just having trouble putting up points, I guess, on the board. Um, if they can't get over 100 points, they're definitely losing next game, no doubt about it. Um, because Atlanta is just really like they're proving that they're a very deep team. Um, I mean, I'll try and stick to my prediction as much as I can. And it's going to go to 7, but if it does go to 7, I definitely like Atlanta coming out of that because Trae Young, he just proved what a big time clutch scorer he is in this series. And I mean, yeah, he's just been pretty much unstoppable at this point. If they don't take it in 5, it'll go to 7, and then I still think Atlanta gets it done now. And I know we looked at the Milwaukee series. That series was a sweep. I know most of us didn't predict that. Most of us did take the Bucks. Maybe a couple of us took Miami. I guess I'll just get your thoughts on this series. I'll start with you, Terry.
Um, Honestly, I agree with you on what you just said. No one expected this one to be a sweep. Honestly, we all thought that the Miami Heat would have put up more of a fight, just due to the fact that we saw them do this last year. But having said that, the Bucks made their adjustments and they minimized their mistakes and they got the sweep.
And then I guess Mete, what are your thoughts on that series?
Like I was saying, this was a big letdown. Um, the reigning Eastern Conference champions just go down without even a game in the first round. So that's a tough year for Miami.
And then I guess Nate, your thoughts on that sweep by the Bucks?
Well, I guess the big question going in was, are the Bucks just basically Giannis with a bunch of help around him? Can this supporting cast kind of help him? And it looks like they can do more than that. I mean, Miami did beat them last season, and now they swept Miami right back. So, congratulations to the Bucks.
Well, I mean, Brooke Lopez led this team in scoring in the final game. I mean, they are getting secondary support scoring from their other guys. And I mean, I believe I said Milwaukee in 6 or 7. And I mean, they did it in 4 games. None of us expected this. Yeah, so great on Milwaukee. And they'll definitely be a tough test in my mind. I'm pretty sure they'll be facing Brooklyn. So they will be a tough test for them. And I guess just getting to the 2-7 series, Brooklyn against Boston. It is 3-1 Brooklyn. I don't think Boston has anything left in the tank. I know I originally said Brooklyn in 4, but Boston put up that amazing game, and Jason Tatum just led the way. I think Brooklyn in 5. I guess, Matt, I'll get to you first. What was your prediction, and what do you think?
I think I had a sweep for the Nets here, and like you were saying, I don't think Boston has anything left in the tank. Like they would need a miracle to win another game. Tatum putting up 40 points and they're still losing. That's tough.
Yeah, for sure. I think most of us should be seeing this one closing out in 5 games. I think, Nate, you feel the same way.
Pretty much it comes down to offense at this point, and the Nets clearly have the higher powered offense. I feel like Tatum, he's going to pull like a Kobe or something and then put up 60, and then Boston's still going to lose somehow. So, yeah, it's going to look really tough.
Yeah, I mean, this Brooklyn team at times can put up over 140 points a game. It's just unreal. Terry, just getting to you, I believe you also had Brooklyn. I don't know how many games you had them in, but I think it's pretty much going to be 5 games. What do you think?
5, next question. Aside from that, ain't really got nothing else to say. I mean, Boston is a great team. Hopefully they draft a young talent to develop into the Brad Stevens system. Having said that, hopefully they can get it done next year and write down the picks.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I guess just moving into the preview, that is the first game of Tuesday slate. Um, the spread is now 12 and a half points for Brooklyn. I mean, I just might lean with the Celtics just because I guess overall they're gonna probably try and put up a fight, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll start with you, Terry.
Sorry, what was the question?
Just who do you think is going to win this game? I know you said Brooklyn, but can they keep it close? The spread is 12 and a half.
12 and a half, so basically 13 for Brooklyn. Um, it's actually a good question. If Celtics are out of gas, I mean, it's probably going to be 13. But say they want to go down fighting, it'll be within 13. That's actually a tough one, but usually with spreads within double digits, I usually go with the Celtics, but it's Brooklyn we're talking about.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess Nate, getting to you, do you think the Celtics can keep it close, or do you think the Nets will run away with this by like 13 or more?
I feel like on paper, there's no reason why the Nets shouldn't be able to outpace the Celtics by at least 13 points. If you really believe in Jason Tatum, you can go with the Celtics, but I think on paper the Nets are a safer pick.
And then just getting to you, Mete, what are your thoughts on, I guess, the spread of the game? I know most of us have Brooklyn winning.
Like Terry was saying, I don't really like betting on the overdog with double digits like that. So I think Tatum will try his hardest and try to keep this game close, at least not a 13-point loss.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I just really don't like such a large spread here, especially if the Celtics are going to go down. They're going to go down fighting in their last game. Definitely something to look out for. And then just moving to the next game, the Blazers and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are home here and they are favored at 1.5 points. So this is pretty much a pick 'em here. Nate, I'll start with you. Who do you think's winning this game?
I guess because I'm going with Denver in 7, I'll say for now that Denver is gonna probably win this game.
And then to you, Terry, do you also like Denver here?
It's actually a tough matchup as well. What was the spread? Pick 'em. So
It's pretty much a pick 'em, yeah. It's
yeah,
minus 1.5.
I want to say go with Portland, but I mean Denver's the higher seed and they have something to fight for, so I want to go with Denver here.
And then Mete, I assume you're just going to ride with Portland here.
Yeah, I'll go with Portland since I have them winning this series.
Yeah, I'm probably going to ride with Portland as well because they are getting points in this game. They are the underdogs here. Yeah, they just been shooting incredibly well. I just expect them to continue the shooting. I know the Nuggets are home, but if their shooters stay as cold as they've been the last couple of games, it's going to be really tough for them. And then just moving to the final game of the Tuesday slate, Phoenix is at home and they are favored by 5 points against the Lakers. I like Phoenix to cover at least five in this game without Anthony Davis. Nate, I'll start with you this time. What do you think about this game?
I think they should be able to keep it close. It's going to be hard for the Lakers to score without Anthony Davis.
And then getting to you, Terry, who do you like on this 5 point spread?
5 point spread. I feel like Suns may take it, even though this goes against everything I'm saying with the series. Having said that, I mean AD is out and Aiton's going to have a better time in the paint just due to the fact that Drummond doesn't have a established post game yet. Marcus Gasol's slow on the defensive end, and I believe Montrezl Harrell is just being put in the dog pound or in the doghouse by Frank Vogel.
Yeah, I know it is going to be tough for the Lakers. And then Mete, for you, do you also like Phoenix in this game for the spread?
Yeah, this is a huge opportunity for the Suns with the injury of Anthony Davis. Of course, it's unfortunate, but they got to take advantage of this and win this game.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess just looking at the Wednesday slate, we don't have a spread yet for the 76ers Wizards. So I guess we'll just pick a winner here. Nate, do you see the 76ers closing out with or without Embiid?
With Embiid, I think they can close it out. Without Embiid, I think Wizards have one more win in them.
And then Mete, getting to you, same question: with or without Embiid, do the Sixers close it out?
I was just saying, without Embiid, they should win since they're so deep. So I'll stick with that.
And then with you, Terry, same question: do you think the Sixers win either way, or do you think Washington has a chance here if Embiid's out?
Really, Washington's going to go down fighting if Embiid's out.
And then I actually like Washington here. I believe they have one more game left in the tank. If Embiid doesn't play, if Embiid's in, obviously I will ride with Philly to close it out because this Philly team is just too good with him in the lineup. And then looking at the Hawks-Knicks game here, the Knicks are home, and they are favored by 1.5, so it's pretty much a pick 'em at this point. Mete, I'll start with you. Do you think the Hawks close it out here?
I don't think they will. Like I was saying, Madison Square Garden, those fans get really loud and they're passionate. So I think their home court energy can carry them to a win here.
And Terry, are you on the Knicks as well?
I'll take Knicks because, I mean, it goes with my series pick. Having said that, I agree with Mente. The crowd in MSG is always going to be overzealous. It's going to be very, I wouldn't say hostile, but they will try to get under your skin.
Yeah, for sure. And then Nate, just getting to you, do you also like the Knicks winning here, or do you think the Hawks close it out?
Well, I did have the Hawks in 6, and like they said, fans are going to be really passionate. It could get under their skin. The Knicks, they're fighting for their playoff lives at this point. So whatever they have in the tank is going to be put onto this game. So this is kind of the perfect opportunity for the Knicks to get another win.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely liking the Knicks as well. I think Trae Young's only undoing is the fans getting in his head at this point. Pretty much no one else on the Knicks can stop him. So I guess the crowd's really going to have to back this Knicks team, and I actually think they can. So I'll definitely lean with the Knicks here for Game 5. And then I guess the Grizzlies against the Jazz. We don't have a spread yet, so we'll just pick a winner here. I'll start with you, Terry. If the Jazz win Game 4, do they close it out here? Or if the Grizzlies win Game 4, do they take a series lead here?
I feel like Utah's going to win this. I don't even know what to say at this rate.
Yeah, definitely. The Jazz are home for this game. I really just don't see them losing. If they come into this game with the series tied even, I just don't see them losing. This Jazz team has been too efficient. They've been too good with Donovan Mitchell in the lineup. I know, Nate, you talked about them being really deep. Do you also see the Jazz winning this game at home?
I think so. The Jazz, I think they're projected to lead in almost every major statistical category except for steals. So I think you have to go with the Jazz on this one.
And then to you, Mete, do the Grizzlies have anything left, or do the Jazz just win this at home?
Yeah, if the Jazz win here tonight, I think the Jazz will close it out in 5.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple there. We won't overthink that game. And then the final game on the Wednesday slate, the LA Clippers are at home and they're favored by 7 points against Dallas. I assume Luka's going to play. He might be limited in this game. Nate, I'll start with you here. Do the Clippers cover 7, or does Dallas keep it close here?
I feel like Dallas can keep it close. Yeah, I think in terms of projection, looks like it's going to be 5. So I guess I'll go with Dallas.
All right, and then Terry, just getting to you. Do the Clippers cover 7, or do you think Dallas can keep it close or even potentially win?
If Luka's out, not out, why did I even say that? If
Limited.
Luka is what he was in Game 4, I feel like they're not going to have a chance. Having said that, they're going to have to look outside for their scoring production, whether it be Tim Hardaway, Porzingis, Kleber, whoever else is on the team. I'll take Clippers -7. Yeah.
And then just getting to you, Mete, do you like the Clippers to cover 7, or do you like Dallas here?
I like the Clippers to win this game, but the Mavericks have been better on the road, so I think they can keep it close. So I would pick the Mavericks here, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dallas's shooting can get as bad as it was in the last game. I think it's only upward from here for that team. Whether Luka is limited or not, I think their secondary scores do come to play. So I think they can keep it close. Like you said, I definitely like the Clippers winning this game overall, but it should be a pretty close one here in LA. And that's pretty much the end of big time basketball for today from the Fantasy Fanatics podcast. Just make sure you check us out on Instagram and Twitter at FanFan Podcast. Check out the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Like, subscribe, share, click the bell for notifications, leave a review, all that good stuff. And thanks again, guys, for recording today. And we'll talk to you guys on the next episode.